Hey guys, Big J here. Today's episode, we're talking Essendon. There's a few players that you guys should consider for your team. I know I've got a couple in mind. Stay tuned. The big thing with Essendon this year is opportunity. They've brought in, four players who basically are best 22. Some are direct players for us in Supercoach, but then also they're players that allow opportunities for other people. Maybe, hey, look, I'm no longer a defender. I can now intercept. I know who you're talking about. Maybe there's someone who, hey, fixes their ruck stock or helps them out in the forward line. Let's check out Supercoach relevant players. In the back line, first off, we have is big Jordan Ridley. Now, I know Big J, hey, Jordan Ridley, this guy's always teased us every year. And maybe he's going to be a tease again for us. But if Ben Mackay comes in and really does what he's supposed to be doing, which is freeing up Jordan Ridley to kind of play that interceptor role alongside another player who might be taking a key defender position, who we'll talk about next. Jordan Ridley, when he has that role, he's pumping out hundreds like no one's business. No early buy, which is fantastic for owners. Definitely a watch over the preseason games to see what the matchup's like, and a watch into the actual preseason games versus other teams, not just the intra-club, as to what the makeup's like in the back line. I'm predicting it's Jordan Ridley, Ben Mackay, and our next person here is Zach Reed, who has been training as that key defender. Joe loves him. I'm starting to like him a lot too. Really tall, really athletic, but has always just been one of those taller players who needed to grow into his body. This year, he's come into the preseason in ripping form, has basically been playing in the ones every week, and looks to take that position. At 123K, I think he's worth at least a bench spot for a lot of teams. And I know once the preseason games are done, a lot of you guys are going to have him in your bench as well. Heading over to the midfield. Now, Zach Merritt. Every year, I get Zach Merritt in my team. It's always post-buy. I think post-buy Zach Merritt is maybe a bit of a meme at the moment, but it's just what happens, really. This year, I don't think as well he's a good starting pick, just for matchups and whatnot. But Joe's telling me, hey, Big J, after round 7, I think they play a few more games in Marvel there. I think they play a few more favorable teams. Zach Merritt, jump on him as one of your first upgrades and you will not be disappointed. 650K does not offer a lot in terms of value for price as well, which is probably another good reason not to start him. But he will be back at this price halfway through the season. So stay tuned for it. Jump on when you can. Get him early and you will not be disappointed. Another player that a lot of people are saying you will not be disappointed about is Darcy Parish. Big J. Darcy Parish. What nonsense are you talking about here? Darcy Parish has always been around the mark. Remember a couple of years ago, he'd always try and get those 30-plus possession games, and it was a case of, cool, when that happens, then he starts to score well in the Supercoach, but has those games that just doesn't happen. This year, they've got a good ruckman. We'll talk about Goldstein soon. I really think it could be Darcy Parish season. Yes, he's a watch for me over the preseason, but at 604K, if he ends up being a keeper, there's some real value there for the pick. And you guys should be considering him in your team too. Really good contested midfield player. If he goes and rests a couple of times in the forward line, he will kick goals. And in the preseason games, it looked like he kicked 3 or 4 as well. So definitely really exciting pick for us. Joe's on board. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are too. Nick Martin is up on the list next. And boy, oh boy, it is Nick Martin's season this year. The preseason games basically have to tell me not to pick Nick Martin for how good Nick Martin is. We know how good he can be. His first year, his first game, he kicked 2 or 3 goals. Nick Martin's in a bit of a different position. I think at the moment he's about 4% owned. Wait for the preseason games and you'll know why his ownership has jumped up. He's been penciled in to play a bit of a halfback role at Essendon, which means that he's going to be taking kick-ins, which he did in the preseason training. He's going to be distributing off the halfback, which, hey, he's doing that again for us. And it's a really favorable role. I've said many times on all our streams, on our platforms, everything, a lot of teams are trying to copy that Nick Dacos mold and have someone in there who can play it. You've got to have good ball skills. You've got to be quick and you got to know the game. Nick Martin does all three, and that's why he's in my team. At 492k, this guy could end up being a steal. He could end up being that player who maybe ends up being D5, D6 in your team, averaging a 105 plus every game. Get him in before you're going to cost too expensive to do so. The next one up on our list is Zane Dersma. Now, he's not someone that I've got in my team, but coming over from Port Adelaide, I think his ownership's around 3 or 4% at the moment. Looks to be playing wing. In Supercoach, that's not really relevant, but I wanted to put him on this list to kind of give everyone, hey, a bit of an insight on where I think he's going to be playing. There's a spot for him there, especially if Nick Martin is going to halfback, which is what we're thinking. Zane Dersma can run. He has had some injury problems in the past, but being 373k, the pick just doesn't offer value. There are better options at 100k more. Nick Martin, for example. If not, just bring in a rookie, trade some cash somewhere else, or bring in a premium. He's not worth the pick. Don't do it, guys. Bit of a heads up. Goldstein. I'm not going to say trader because we let him go for opportunity. And, he was getting a bit older, but he is the engine room for this team. He's going to help this team do very well. Maybe not in Supercoach, but in draft, if you're missing someone, if you've got to go pick up a ruckman, maybe everyone jumped on the Marshall, the Briggs, Gawn, Grundy early. Goldstein could do it for you. It's looking like Essendon's going to play a one-ruck combination because Peter Wright's in the forward line who can also pinch hit. So Sammy Draper basically is going to get relegated back to the VFL. He isn't fit 100%, which it probably helps for that as well. Maybe he'll just get his body right, train himself through there, kind of take on Goldstein's leadership. But Brad Scott wants to push for finals. He can't do that with Draper at the moment, but he can do that with Goldstein. Goldstein's tapping down to a Zach Merritt, a Parrish, a few of these other type players. He's going to help them with the scoring, and that's what we want in Supercoach. As I said, he's not a pick, but a good ruck makes the other mid score better. So stay tuned for how he's going to go in the preseason. There's two players in the forward line that I think are relevant in Supercoach. One for a good reason and one for a bad reason. Unfortunately, Elijah Sardis is the bad reason. I believe he was taken at pick 5. So, we know this kid can play. But one of the problems is it's looking like he's struggling a little bit through the preseason. Maybe he isn't up to form yet, but he doesn't have a favorable Supercoach role playing wing. Wait to see for the preseason. But I think there's better players, maybe a Harms or someone else around the price value that you guys should be considering first in your teams over Elijah Sardis. Let me know down in the comments how you feel. Now, we're talking about good players. If you haven't watched the highlights already, Nate Caddy is a freak in the forward line. And I think Essendon's one of those players where the ruck's been a bit of a problem, but they've got Goldstein in now for a couple of years. The midfield's been great. The defense has been solid. The forward line's always struggled a little bit. You've had Peter Wright as a ruckman. You've had someone else, but never really that third tall or other players to really cover the positions. Nate Caddy is going to do that for you, Essendon fans. Watch the highlights. This guy can kick a goal from basically anywhere in the forward 50. He's quick. He knows what to do. I'm really excited to see him. He's not in my Supercoach team yet, but I could definitely be swayed. He's on the list of players who, hey, I want to talk about and who I potentially want to bring into my... Guys, let me know down below. Hey, Big J, you've missed out on my favorite player, Darcy Parish. He's going to play wing and forward. What are you talking about him in the midfield? I'd love to hear it. Obviously, I follow North Melbourne. You guys might follow Essendon and know some more about the different players as well. Let me know down in the comments. Remember, guys, we've got our Supercoach League as well, where you guys can win 3 amazing prizes. Football jersey of the team of your choice, 2 AFL games, or an AFL voucher. It's all free. The information for that will be in the link down below. Here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so you don't have to. Bye for now.